I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Ghosty, Culpy. This one's Culpy, right here. And Chip is behind the cup.
My man Ghosty's chilling.
Hey, you guys, we have like mugs, Sori secret mugs, and shirts, Sori secret shirts that says maybe you're sick because of your secrets. All that, if you look in the link in our description of this video, you'll find the link to our gear. If you send us a picture of yourself with any of our gear, we'll put you into one of our videos.
Watch all. For timely, topical, political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America, Vin and Sori. I'm trying to do
Firesides are there too.
Trying to do a fireside tonight.
But we're
which
recording early.
You
so.
would experience as 2 days from now, as of this
right.
recording. Okay, so this is one of my favorite bands of all time, with one of my favorite guitarists of all time.
I'm a fan of Pantera too.
This is PANTERA-Fucking.
Okay, I feel like, so I'm still like, you know, I've been listening to Silent Gold over and over. So I'm kind of like, okay, do I really like Pain of Salvation, or is it just like a fling? But Pantera is not a fling for me. That's a lifelong love.
So you're dating Pain of Salvation, but you're married to
Pantera.
Pantera.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. That's gonna, Ben. I'm telling you right now, be careful with your commentary on what she just said. Okay. Fucking hostile, Pantera. All right, let's do it.
All right, ready?
Yep.
And go.
The next song is so fucking hostile. Watch out, Grace. Almost every day, I see what's safe. Although we get to go, and that's the answer. The biggest thing I know is pushing motion. The bubble that's a man, power to know the end. The day I made a follow, never end. I never want to trust me, no, I can sell. And I make a thing, what's it on? It's in the road, in the foot, in the church, the wrong road. The right road. To breathe, and I'll be tough. The time, the maximum. Whoa, fucking hostile. Let's stand alone. This is the right way. That's the fucking way. This is the visible. A wrecking ball truck. This is the world around. That's what some people say. The right thing is there. All of us will be there. Now they are coming to shut up. It's like a concept. And you don't understand. I was supposed to make shit in my own. You think you get to just make shit in. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. To see, to breathe. You have me done. I want to hear you. The time. The maximum. Come on.
Wow. Wow.
Yikes.
Oh my word. I love going to shows. I can't wait for our next one.
Yeah, August 9th. Corn. So we got to get that set up.
Yeah.
Get whoever needs to get set up for the setup.
Yeah.
Upset the setup. Subhanallah. Good Lord. These guys are they're just one of the best of all time, man. They're just one of the best of all time.
Oh my gosh. So I actually just jumped into some of the lyrics for a little bit. Are they talking about the cops?
Well, I just think it's talking about
any authority
figure / institutions. Like he said something like, the truth and right and wrong, the boundaries of the law. You seem to miss the point. Arresting for a joint.
Yeah.
You seem to wonder why hundreds of people die. You're writing tickets, man. My mom got jumped. They ran. You know, it's like you're writing tickets over like victimless crimes. Like.
Yeah,
you know,
but then his mom got jumped and the cops didn't take care of the problem.
Right, like that's a real issue. Remember that? We got to put that video in there. Remember when that dude had that meltdown about the parking ticket? And he goes, "You're crazy!"
Oh.
And he's like, "Why don't you go after the people?" Here's the video right here. See, like, dude is like, he's pissed.
I forgot about this.
Yeah. So it's like people are really, really frustrated with.
Yeah.
And, you know, when was this song written? I'm sure like late 80s, early 90s. So like we were in full swing on the bullshit war on drugs. 92. Like we had the war on drugs going on where we were like, you know, it's like Pac said, instead of a war on poverty, you got a war on drugs so police can bother me. Which Nixon's, one of the senior guys in Nixon's cabinet admitted that the war on drugs was designed specifically to target hippies and black people. He specifically said that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's there, and then,
awful.
and then, meanwhile, like legitimate crimes are
Messed
actually, happening.
Put your energy over there.
Yeah. Put your energy around violent crimes. Why are you going after people? I've never seen somebody like get high on weed and then like want to kill somebody. I've never seen it happen.
Honest to goodness, before I ever saw anybody smoking weed, because I mean, a lot of you know I grew up in a very strict Christian home, so it was like weed was that was whoa, that's really, really bad, really, really horrible, you know what I mean? And then I saw multiple people when they were high, and I was like, that's not what I thought it was gonna be like.
Yeah, obviously. You know, it's obviously not, you know, what it was hyped up. But I remember one time we were in school in 7th grade and somebody got caught with a dime bag in their backpack. And they made this big thing of it. And then the teacher's like, poor kid, his life is over.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his life is over.
What?
Because he's a minor and he got caught with a... I was like, come on, bruh.
What happened to him, though? Did he get in big trouble?
I don't know what happened to him. I mean, he wasn't in my... You know what I'm saying? He wasn't in my circle.
Yeah, but maybe she meant over as in...
No, she said his life was over.
Yeah, but maybe...
He's gonna have this terrible police record, and he's done forever. That was
I would have thought that too.
That was a big thing, and I remember me and my friend Chris were just looking at each other like, "Wow, we better stay away from that. Let's stay away from that weed."
In a mocking way, you were thinking that, or you?
No,
knew?
We were dead ass serious because Chris is like, "Bro, you're black. So this happened to a white kid, and his life is over. Forget it."
Wow.
It was all propaganda.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hope they didn't ruin that kid's life. I mean, he's a minor, so I'm sure that would have been expunged if he got charged with anything. But, I mean, when you really think about the stuff that's criminalized in America and then the stuff that we're allowed to do, it's insane.
Yeah.
It really is. It's crazy. It's unbelievable to me. But you're writing tickets, man. My mom got jumped, they ran. Now I'll play a public servant to serve and protect. By the law in the state, I'd bust the punks that rape, steal, and murder and leave you be. If you cross me, I'd shake your hand like a man, not a god.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? Well, you know, sometimes the cops or people in authority, they act like they're a god, you know, and they're, you know, you can't question them.
Oh, yeah.
You can't, you know what I mean? He's just saying, if I had that situation, I'd just shake your hand, you know what I mean? Like a man to man, you know what I mean?
Well,
Not
yeah.
I was superior to you.
Yeah.
You know, stuff that, you know, we've told this story before, but it comes to mind when we're talking about this. It was a guy that was publicly drinking, which you're not allowed to do in our state, and he was drunk, and the cop came over. We weren't there when it happened. Friends of ours were there. We were on the other side of the park, because had I been there, I would have for sure said something.
Yeah,
you would have too. I would have been crying when I said it. But he poured the alcohol over the homeless guy's head, and because the cop did that, and that makes me so angry that you would treat somebody like that. And the homeless guy wasn't upset about it, which is upsetting to me.
He was
just grateful that he didn't get arrested.
Yeah, yeah.
But so he's so accustomed to be treated inhumanely.
Yeah. And these cops are so accustomed to doing
treating
that. They can do
people
that
like that
in broad daylight.
Yeah.
And everybody and their mother has cell phones now.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like it's slowing them down. Like, I saw a video the other day, I think you had it playing, where he was yelling at the guy and he was telling him, get your motherfucking hands up, no, that was at the concert. He was saying, get your fucking hands up.
No, well, the cop was saying that
he was telling him to spread his legs.
Yeah.
And the guy did. And then, I don't know what he wanted him to do, a friggin' split?
Yeah.
And then he, kicked his leg out from underneath it. I'm like, what? Why are you such a bastard, man?
But they know who to screw with and who not. Remember that time when Sabrina was all stressed out? She just gotten a job. We had a friend, kind of downtowny. She had just gotten a job, and her neighbor accused her of stealing. I don't know how she was able to pull that off while at work, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then the cop showed up at her job, called her out at her job, and then said, if you don't come to the station with the stuff, I'm going to show up in 2 hours and we're going to go through your apartment.
And she had kids and stuff.
She didn't know the law or anything. I'm like, that's bull. I was like, all right, get in the car. So we went down to the police station, and I said, where's Officer so-and-so?
I sat with her, you went out back with the cop.
And then the other guy was like, well, come to the room, because he saw. And he knew where I was going. I was like, your man showed up and did all these histrionics in this girl's place of work. And now he's talking about showing up. I'm like, I need this dude. Where is he? Yeah. He's like, well, and then he basically said, sometimes, we bluff so that, people can confess because, you're not going to get a search warrant for something like that in this neighborhood because, whatever. And I'm like, that's bullshit that you did that to that girl. She just got a job. I'm like,
she was trying so hard.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go there and tell her she's okay. I'm like, yeah, you guys aren't okay though.
Right.
And he was like, he basically, so they know who to screw with and who not to screw with. Like the minute they run into somebody remember that time we were outside and they try to play with me, and I told the guy basically, get out, I'm done with you now. Yeah. Get out of my face.
I was like, who does that? You just dismissed a cop.
He works for me.
I know, but not everybody realizes.
They serve and protect. But they know, the minute they run into somebody that knows the law, they get very, very diplomatic.
But you know what? Everybody has that sort of not everybody, but most people have that elitist mentality. Okay, for instance, I would never work at a 7-Eleven. I would be way too scared to work at a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Because of the clientele that would come in, I'd be afraid something would happen.
Right.
And so, the people, and so if you have a better job, you would probably look down at the people that are working at the 7-Eleven. Well, a 7-Eleven girl today, when we went in, well, it wasn't the 7-Eleven, but it was one of those convenience stores. We walk in there, and the other girl that was talking to us, and she was obviously on something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the girl at the 7-Eleven is looking at her, judging her, looking down on her, because the woman has obviously had a rough life, and she has chosen drugs as her means of escape, probably, or I'm not sure. I don't know her story, but she was obviously, and I felt sad, in my heart, because I was like that girl behind the counter was looking down on her like she was a piece of trash.
Yeah.
And she was looking at us like we were weird to even be talking to her.
Yeah. And with no idea what the girl's been through.
No, I know.
It's like,
I know. But just because you may feel like you have something up on somebody else, shouldn't that be why you would have more compassion on somebody? You know what I'm saying? It should make it so that way you're like, oh my gosh, I would hate to be in that situation. Hey, let me help you.
Right.
Rather than make yourself feel better because you're better than that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Almost every day I see the same face on Broken Picture Tube. It fits the attitude. If you could see yourself, you'd put you on a shelf. Your verbal masturbate, promise to nauseate. Today I'll play the part of non-parent. Not make 100 rules for you to know about yourself. Not lie and make you believe what's evil is making love and making friends and meeting God your own way, the right way.
Interesting.
So, what do you think that's about, televangelists or the media, or a combination of both?
Yeah. And parents, because he said, I won't be your parent. Didn't you say something about parents?
Today I'll play the part of non-parent. Now
Yeah.
make 100 rules for you to know about yourself. Not lie and make you believe what's evil is making love and making friends.
Yeah. When I read that, I just thought of like parents because, again, I grew up in a Christian home where there was like lots of rules, and all the other people that were in Christian homes also had lots of rules.
Yeah.
But those rules were actually coming from the churches.
Right.
That,
Yeah, but he's talking about sexual ethics too, right? Because he's upset that, you know, there are certain brands of religions or whatever that characterize sex as evil. Now, of course, making love is not evil. Making love is great. However, the question is, can you have love with 8 different partners in a month?
right.
And I don't care what anybody says. Go to the CDC and see if that's healthy.
Right.
It's not.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just not healthy. So, you know, I agree. There's a lot of people that overreact and try to demonize sex. But then there's an overreaction on the other side which tries to trivialize sex. Well, it's just, you know, it's kind of what happens when we talk about the sex industry. It's like, oh, it's like another job. It's like, no. There's something very, very sacred about sexuality.
Right.
And I don't care what anybody says.
Right.
It's not just another job or just a thing that people do. Like, there's something transcendental and very, very deep about sexuality.
Yeah.
So, but I think that the way that a lot of parents, and especially again in the early 90s, you know, like think about the early 90s, we just got out of the AIDS scare of the 80s.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot about, you know, wear a condom
yeah.
and safe sex and all this. And so the whole abstinence versus sex education conflict was like in full swing at the time. And obviously you had people saying that abstinence was the best way to protect against disease because, you know, whatever. And then the other idea was, well, you know, just tell the kids to protect themselves. They should be fine. And the counter to that was, yeah, there's a lot of STDs that you know, a condom's not going to protect you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, herpes, like, condom's not going to protect you from herpes. You know what I'm saying? So, HPV too, I think. So, I mean...
I'll tell you what, too, like, you know, we've sat with people that have found out that they now have some...
Oh, yeah.
Something that they can't get rid of and that they're going to have for the rest of their life. And it's actually... It's a really, like, it kind of like hits you like deep in your stomach where you feel like sick deep down in your stomach because it's one of those things where it feels like it's, to them, like it almost like it feels like the end of their life. You know what I mean? Because like life as they knew it before is now over.
Well,
so
one of them
now,
was 18 years old.
right, just young.
Yeah.
So now you have to, like, you have this moral thing, like, are you going to tell the truth to your next partner?
Right.
Or are you going to not say anything because you don't want to be looked at a certain way? But then to not say something is obviously immoral, but to say something is like, you know, like, so it's like, and you're 18 years old, like, you've just started your life, you know, or however old, you know, that those people happen to be very young, but...
Yeah. But a lot of it is just
And
balance.
I think that it takes something from you, too, to know that that person did that to you.
Right.
That person didn't warn you or tell you.
Right. For the same reasons that you are now tempted to not warn the other person.
Right.
And there's a bunch of rationalizations. Like his rationalization to her was, well, you know, I was taking my whatever with outbreaks and I didn't know I had an outbreak and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's all these types of... And like she's looking at him like, oh my God, you scumbag. But now she's in the same situation he was.
Right.
And I'm not very confident that she...
Well, in the very same discussion that she was judging him for doing that.
And crying.
Then she was kind of like, well, I mean, I'm not going to say something that... You know what I mean? Like, so you saw both... It was just, but it was sad. The whole thing was sad.
Yeah, and as a parent, you know, when it comes to sexuality, and you know, I've had some pretty open and explicit discussions with Dorian about sexuality and things of that nature. And, and you know, I think the big thing is you can't demonize and you can't trivialize. You cannot tell kids that sex is horrible and terrible and you're a horrible person and blah, blah, blah. But you can't trivialize it either. Like, it's a real, you know, it's a powerful, powerful thing. And, you know, I think a lot of people swing either way, and in both ways, both ditches are bad and unhealthy, I think. Demonization and trivialization of something as powerful as that is wrong on both sides.
I agree. I thought the chorus was cool. To see, to bleed cannot be taught. In turn, you're making us fucking hostile. We stand alone. So he's saying, like, to be able to see and bleed, like, to be able to feel and experience and be like that sort of person. Like, you can't teach somebody how to feel and have emotion and stuff like that. Like, but in turn, because that can't be taught, and there's those type of people are in leadership, they're making other people hostile. And I was thinking about the whole, like, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter movement and, like, the cops' obvious more hostile attitudes toward black males over and against white males or even white females. I've noticed personally a complete difference when we get pulled over when I'm by myself or when I'm with you. Like, it's totally different.
Right, and a lot of that has to do with your pretty girl privilege, but I see what you're saying.
But still.
It's like the guy said, you know...
Well, then how come I don't have that pretty girl privilege when you're in the car with me?
Right. Well, that's the problem is, and now
You override my pretty girl privilege?
Well, no, I think your pretty girl privilege plays into it. Like, this guy ended up with one of the best that we have. See what I'm saying? Then it works backwards. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear you. I hear. So. But it's one of the tough things about being a parent, and I say it all the time to Dorian. It's like, I wish you would just take what I have to say and apply it to your life without having to learn the hard lessons.
I know.
But, you know.
I know.
That's why, you know, the last conversation I had with that, I said, all right, cool. Because we already had a conversation.
Right.
We've already talked about it a million times.
A bunch of times.
So you're just going to have to learn it on your own. And when you're young, you don't realize that your parents don't want you to experience that.
Right.
Because there's an off-ramp where you don't have to experience that shit. Mm-hmm. But it's obvious to me that he's gonna have to and you have to, as a parent, let them do that. They gotta experience it. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried so much about making the kids mad at me. I could care less. Mm-hmm. But what I am worried about is, okay, are they gonna be equipped to live life successfully and to be able to dodge the trillions of pitfalls that life is gonna throw at them?
Yep.
And you know that's the best that you can do. But you're not. There's some things where you talk to them and they go, "Oh, okay," and they do listen to you. Mm-hmm. You know, and then there's other things where it's just obvious that the kid's got certain inclinations. Mm-hmm. You know, and at that point, as a parent, you just say, "Well, I love you unconditionally. I'm going to be here for you when you fuck up your life.
I'll help you put the fire out.
I'll help you put the fire out." But what I tell Dorian is, look, whatever happens, you're never going to be able to say that I didn't tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, whatever happens, you're never going to be able to say that.
And I think that, like...
And you have to be good with that as a parent at some level.
There's things that, like, there was things that my parents said to me that I listened to, and there was things that I didn't listen to. And then, as I got older, what they said was going to happen from certain actions did happen, and then the next time when they say, like, well, you should look out for this, you're more apt to listen because now you're older, and plus you're like, plus the last time, you know? But you got to let them have those situations where they'll realize that you as their parent are a god. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's one of the craziest things about parenting is that the first half of parenting is about attachment and making this bond, and then the second half of parenting is about releasing them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of parents don't know what season is what season. Mm-hmm. And so the kid who's never been a parent before is looking at it like this big oppressive thing. Mm-hmm. When in reality, it's just that conflict that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you are. Come meet your maker, boy. Some things you can't enjoy because of heaven, hell, a wives' tale they put in your head, then put you to bed. He's watching you say your prayers because God is everywhere. Now I'll play a man learning priesthood, about to take the ultimate test in life. I question things because I'm human, and call no one my father who's no closer than a stranger. I won't listen. Okay, so that's definitely going after. Yeah, and some things you can't enjoy. There it is again. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like that. Why? Why can't I have that? You know, and it's really. I do think though, like, if your primary motivation from a Christian perspective for doing things or not doing things is because of heaven and hell,
you miss the point.
It's missed the point.
Yeah.
You know, it's ultimately about loving God and loving your neighbor.
Yeah.
Why you should do or not do things. It's not about what's going to happen to you in heaven or hell. I mean, for me, that question was settled at the cross. Mm-hmm. That's not the issue. The issue is, okay, do I love God? Do I love you? Yeah, there are some things I can't enjoy. So if I'm walking down the street and some girl with a big booty and a pretty face says, hey, you want to hang out for 20 minutes? No, I don't. Because I love her. Has nothing to do with heaven or hell. I love her and I love God. So no, go somewhere else. Not me. So like, you know, it's one of those things where you have to, you know, yeah, there's some things you cannot enjoy. Life is not only about enjoying what you can in your physical body to the max. There are other issues. You know what I mean? Like, and really, you know, there have been, you know, I've known dudes who've decided between a pleasurable moment of a crackhead versus the rent. And they chose the rent. It just so happened that there were 2 kids that were living there that were dependent on him to pay that rent. So, you know, again, yeah, it's true. Some things you cannot enjoy. I don't think heaven and hell should be the defining, you know, motivation. It should be, you know, loving God and loving neighbor. And, you know, like we said about, you know, on the drive yesterday, like, can I see Jesus doing this?
Right.
You know, can I see Jesus saying, hey, no minimum wage, I'm charging you $2.
Right.
You know, so, you know, I see what he's saying here, but I think, like, the more you mature in life, you don't have to necessarily be a Christian to know that there are some things you should not enjoy. There's some joy that you should leave on the table for a bigger joy.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Choice. Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to say no to the girl on the street because I want to live an ascetic lifestyle. I'm saying no because a relationship of trust with you brings me more joy than that 20 minutes would. So I'm exchanging one joy for another. So if you present it that way, that's different.
Right.
But again, a lot of it is in the presentation because a lot of religious people make it about, oh, you know, you're not supposed to be happy. I've heard all that God doesn't want you happy. And da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're supposed to have all this self-denial. And
if it feels good, it must be sin.
Right. And they make it sound like you're making some giant sacrifice. And, you know, what did the missionary say before he got speared to death? He said, I never made a sacrifice. Because everything he sacrificed, he got a greater joy out of it.
Right.
So...
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of this is how you position it. If you position to your kid, to your sons, hey man, you're gonna be a very attractive young man. You know, Orion's gonna be a mixed kid with blue eyes, probably. He's gonna be extremely attractive. You say, look, bro, there's gonna be a lot of girls that'll, you know, love to have, you know, 5 minutes alone with you, and you will absolutely enjoy it, but you would be selling out a greater joy if you do that. Yeah. Because now it affects your relationship with God. He'll forgive you, but it's not gonna be like what it was before. It's not. And you know, your girl might forgive you, but you'll be wounding somebody that you love very dearly.
Yeah. And even if you're not somebody that's like with someone, if you're like, well, I'm single, so what does it matter? Like eventually you're gonna meet that person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And all of those things are stuff that you talk about. You know, you still have to present that.
It's called
you know?
Baggage, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I call no one my father who's no closer than a stranger. That's a good point, though.
I know.
You know, we were talking about that yesterday too, like with the whole Catholic thing with the. Yeah. You know, calling a pope your holy father and calling a priest your father, and actually Phil is quoting the Bible here because Jesus said that. He said, "Call no man father." So. I think because he said you are all brothers and your only teacher is the Son of Man or something like that. I forgot, but it's Matthew 23:9. There it is. And there's whole like Catholic videos explaining how that could be.
Why they're doing that? Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew 23:9. Call no man father. I don't know. I mean, like I said, there is ways around that from a Catholic perspective, but I also think that it's pretty hard to reconcile. It's pretty hard to reconcile. Okay, what do you give the song?
10. Pantera. 10. It's always 10.
It's 10 for me. Love the dime solo. Love the squeal.
Yep, I like the beginning.
Love the audience participation. Look, I know you're gonna say you should have done the studio version. Yeah, I get it. We're gonna listen to the studio version, but we needed to see some live
No, I wanted to
Pantera
see some live.
energy at their peak and prime,
Yeah.
and we did. So there you are, dear listener. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.